changers that Jesus will confront are converting foreign currency. And one of the reasons pilgrims needed the local currency is so that they could buy animals to sacrifice in the temple. But before they meet their faith in lunch or sacrifice, goats have their own ideas.
If you want to eat from the tree, she will climb, or as much as she can, and she will take it. She will also take out the roots, something that the sheep cannot do. So for a farmer, she is a destroyer.
Maybe that's why the farmer Cain and the shepherd Abel didn't get along. Abel's livestock really got Cain's goat. And the sheep were useful not just for food, but for making clothes. But first, you had to catch them.
Would you like to lead this flock? Would you like to do that?
Sure, let's give it a try.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you forgot one.
Oh, yeah. Champion shepherd. Is it terrible that I'm making lamb kebabs right now? For the biblical farmer, the most important task was growing enough food for his family. Animals provided crucial help plowing the fields and growing staple foods. No wonder the Bible mentions animals so often. They were lifeless and lifeline.
Your mule, your cow, whatever animal you had is really your friend. She knows you.
The most important thing in my world.
She is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because everything depends on it.
Yes.
But in the Bible, isn't there a reference to plowing a straight line?
Jesus says to his followers, if you follow me, look like you are plowing in a field. Just go straight after me. Don't look right, don't look left.
And that's not easily done. Yeah.
Now the left.
Yikes. Yeah, I think she's more interested in eating than in plowing.
Start going.
You know, it's a lot easier to say that than to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Wrong. Yeah. Wrong. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm doing it. From morning to night, I'd be out here plowing.
You'll be plowing now. It's really a lot of work.
What do you know?
But you know that God said to Adam that the sweat of your brow, you will get bread out of the land.
Yeah. There we go. That's a girl. Biblical farmers developed terracing systems still in use here. They cut large shelves out of the hillside to prevent the soil from washing away. Here they grew barley and wheat and anxiously hoped they'd chosen the right amount of seeds to eat and to sow. So that's the actual barley?
Just the seeds. Yeah, it's very important that they get settled down on the ground and that they grow and they get roots.
What's the worst thing that could happen as a farmer in biblical times?
No way. The worst.
Nothing grows.
There is bread. So if there is no bread, there is no life.
From the time of the Bible right up to today, for the Jewish people, unless you've broken bread, you haven't had a meal. And in the Holy Temple, beyond the courtyard where the sacrifices were held, was the sanctuary. The only food allowed in there was bread. But to grow the grains needed for your bread, you needed water. Being a biblical farmer meant looking to the skies and praying there would be enough rain. One of the toughest jobs was hauling water. And guess who did that?
Actually, you're now doing a typical woman's job, you know?
This is a woman's work.
Very hard work. Of course, very important. One of the hardest will be given either to the women or to slaves.
Or university professors, please.
By the way, you know that it was a very hard job, and this is also the place of encounters. Women found their spouses.
Really?
Yes, the most important encounters happened by a well or a sister.
So it's like
All the important marriage.
this is the first century hanging.
This is the internet.
First
Yes.
century Facebook.
Of course, that's a matchmaking place here.
At the well, chance encounters led to many important biblical marriages. Moses and Zipporah, Jacob and Rachel, Isaac and Rebekah. Now this place is not as well suited for matchmaking, but it's just as important for collecting water. Ancient engineers designed this wooden treadmill connected to a ring of clay pots called a sakia. Now how it works is that you walk or run on this part of the wheel. And if you're doing it right, the wheel spins and those jugs up on top will scoop up water from this pond and then drop them into that sluice at the top. And then the sluice runs into a trough behind me where people would pick up the water for farming and drinking and so on. But you got to keep going on this because the momentum really drops off quickly. So these are the jobs that would have surrounded Jesus when he was growing up. But many of his followers, the disciples, held a different profession, one we haven't seen so far. I want to find out why so many of them were in this profession, and I want to try and do this job. I'm in Israel, learning about jobs in the time of Jesus. And there's a pretty important job you can't miss if you read the New Testament, because at least 4 of the disciples of Jesus were fishermen. So I've come north to the Sea of Galilee to find out why. This is Chaim Weitzman, a second-generation fisherman who grew up right here on the shores of the Galilee. We're going to fish where the disciples fished, and maybe find out the connection between this job and Jesus' earliest followers. Chaim, we got to get a cover for your boat, a little roof, splash guard. That's a hat. Hello there. Now I'm a fisherman. Yeah, looks good. So how did the disciples know where to find the fish? Like Chaim, they knew the waters around here, and they used their instincts. They didn't know his work, but they had Jesus. And the Gospels tell us he miraculously knew where to find the fish. We have sonar. We're fishing for tilapia, which has been swimming in these waters since before the time of the disciples. Now, they call it St. Peter's fish, named after, guess who? Very good. My first fish in a net. Look at that. This is bigger, but mine's tougher. How many fish do you catch every day?
100 kilo.
100 kilos.
100 kilo, yeah.
In one net.
One net, yeah.
Well, I caught slightly less than that, and I'm going to cook them up biblical style. This is Vera Gross, who manages Deck's restaurant here in the Galilee. She's going to show me how it's done.
Me and Adam, we have to speak.
Great. Hi, Anna.
You take the fish.
Is stick it through? I believe that's the technical term. Okay.
Great job, better than Adam. You see, the teacher became the pupil. This is a special type of oregano for keto.
Like that.
Yeah.
This is hot.
Hot thing. And if you want to check if the fish is ready,
Yeah.
you take the tip of the oregano
Okay.
and you try to,
This is my ancient fish thermometer.
Yeah. If it goes through, it's ready.
Hi, Jim.
Hello there, Art.
How are you?
All right, look at that. I'm impressed.
Wait a second. Biblical garnish here for you.
Little biblical garnish. Well, very nice indeed.
While Jim enjoys my expertly caught and brilliantly cooked St. Peter's fish, I ask him about the biblical fishing business.
First of all, you fish with nets. That's what's economical if you're trying to do something commercial. And then when you fish with nets in the ancient world, you fish at night because the fish can't see the nets at night. In order to keep your clothes from being ruined by being in nets and so on, you usually fish naked.
The TV viewers will be glad that I didn't try that experiment. That's a little too much. These people, I mean, fishing in ancient times around here, are they poor?
Well, not at all. This is the most stable industry for this area.
According to the writings of the first century eyewitness Josephus, the Galilee had a thriving economy with a salting factory to preserve fish for export. And with some of the catch, they made fish sauce, which was called garum. I'm meeting biblical food historian Susan Weingarten to learn how to do this fragrant job.
We're going to cut these fish up, put them into the pot together with the guts of the fish have enzymes in them. The enzyme will break down the flesh of the fish. The salt will prevent it from producing all sorts of harmful bacteria. And we leave it around for 3 months.
Any kind of fish, right?
Any kind of fish, everything goes in, always a bit of salt in the middle.
Now, what was garum used for?
The top quality garum was used as a condiment, as a flavouring. But nobody really use soy sauce nowadays. The lower quality ones, well, there's also you can dip your bread into, perhaps. And at the bottom there's a sludge, which they used to eat. The sludge would contain the bones, which don't get digested by the enzyme. And it's these bones that we find archaeologically, and we can identify that this was the place where they made garum.
Whose job was this other than mine?
That's right. They would be made in factories. We've found the remains of garum factories all around the Mediterranean.
So this would have been a commodity.
A commodity that was traded widely over the Mediterranean. King Herod imported garum from Spain. Spanish garum was the best. We've even found garum in Masada.
Would this have been considered to be a good job as a garum maker? Or?
A person working in the garum factory, I guess not, but a person that made all the money out of owning the factory.
I can't imagine this was a glamorous job.
I can't imagine it either.
So how long has this garum been sitting?
This garum's been sitting here for a month and a half, and this one for a bit over 2 months.
Beautiful.
Yeah, let's have a go. Look, you can see the fish, the way they're all decaying.
This is absolutely revolting.
It wouldn't smell nearly so bad at the end of the process.
This has to rank as maybe one of the worst jobs I would ever have to do.
We didn't let you eat it, did we?
No, and I'm really grateful that you didn't. So there are lots of fish in the sea. The Sea of Galilee, which could be sold, salted, and made into fish sauce for export. This was a good business. And in the nearby fishing village of Bethsaida, where many of the disciples came from, there's more evidence of how profitable a job fishing could be. Bethsaida is right on a major international trade route, the Via Maris. You've heard of the road to Damascus? Well, it starts down in Egypt and goes right through here.
This is the site of Bethsaida. It's a major city in Jesus' lifetime.
The image in my head of poor fishermen gets dispelled at Bethsaida, where archaeologists have discovered evidence of a middle-class lifestyle. How do you know these were houses of the fishermen?
Well, because weights for fishing nets have been found here. They have actually found the bones of fish here. This is the courtyard of the house of the fisherman. And this is the wine cellar.
The wine cellar.
And this is what we need to find out if they're wealthy or not. Because all the houses look the same on the outside. What's on the inside tells us their level of wealth. They found tall jars from the time they're used for wine. If they're collecting wine and going to a lot of trouble to corbel this over and to make a cool place,